Well, and there's no vowels in it. So tell me, where's that from?
It's Croatian.
Okay.
And I could always tell in school when they got to my name because the teacher would pause and then eventually either just murder my last name or they would just say Shane. Like no one ever gets it right. Like
So it's Srsen.
Srsen, yeah.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, so I'm avid in, and people get it wrong all the time, and it sounds just like it's spelled. Same like yours, just like it's spelled, really.
Yeah, it's like sir and then your shin. Just no one ever thinks that.
Yeah.
So.
I thought it was cool because there was no vowels in the name, which is really unique.
I've had a lot of teachers and friends and business people like, dude, you're just fix it to where we know how to say it. I'm not going to change my last name so that it's easier for you to pronounce.
Right.
Like, come on.
I had a lady work for me once, and her name was Donna, with 2 N's on her ID and her mortgage light and everything, but she changed it to 1 N. Never legally. But she just decided that's how she wanted to spell.
Just wanted to drop an N all of a sudden.
Yeah, and I was like, you can't do that. Like,
so
we're a legal entity. You gotta. It's how it is on you. But it was funny. She just took it upon herself to change.
Just decided I don't want to change. I don't want to be Donna anymore.
It's kind of funny.
Never heard of anyone doing that before, but sure.
Yeah. So Croatian. So did you grow up here in the States, or where?
My dad moved here when he was 16.
Okay.
Moved to New York City. Was there for a few years, and then he ended up. We have a huge population of Croatian people in South Louisiana, like New Orleans and south of that area. And I was born here, obviously, and but I mean, I've been over there many, many times. I have a house there.
Oh, cool.
So it's been a few years, kind of hard when you own a small business to take off and leave for several weeks at a time.
Yeah, absolutely. So living there, living here, like, what's the comparison between the two, you think?
It is a total different culture.
Yeah.
I mean, the speed of life, how people eat, the family unit is completely different.
Yeah.
No fast food.
Right.
I've only ever seen one fast food place ever over there. Most people have their own gardens, so they're growing their own produce to a certain extent. You know, everything's closed on Sundays.
Okay.
It's a totally different world.
Really?
Very, very family oriented. And then too, one of the biggest things is big meal is lunch.
Okay.
Dinner is a small meal, like something, a sandwich, a salad, something like that.
So a little healthier lifestyle.
Way healthier.
Well, not little, a lot healthier.
Fresh vegetables, lots of olive oil, lots of fish.
Right.
So very much Mediterranean diet, which most physicians and dietitians all will tell you Mediterranean diet is probably the healthiest overall diet you can get.
That's one of the more well-rounded for different blood types and different, health. Pretty much anybody can follow that diet.
Healthy fat, lots of vegetables, lots of fish, not a lot of red meat.
Yep.
So very, very highly praised by the medical community.
Right. So did you learn? Was your cooking background from the Croatian family side, or is it something you picked up here in the States? Where did you get your background in cooking?
I enjoyed cooking when I was a kid, but I never for an instance thought it was a career type thing. Very much was something I kind of fell into. Got started in bars when I moved to Baton Rouge. And then eventually moved into the restaurant business and kind of just got thrown into the kitchen.
Right.
And did well with it. But it was never something where I strived to be a chef or operate a kitchen. It was just happenstance, really.
Yeah. Came naturally?
Just came naturally, yeah.
And anyone who's never worked in a kitchen can't understand what that's really like. Restaurant kitchen, to me, I think it really taught me to appreciate hard work, long hours. We were talking about the summer's about to kick in and how warm it gets back there. Yeah. I remember standing over that grease fryer, for a double. And that's a miserable place on the cooking line, like when you're over that grease for 12 hours a day cooking.
Especially down here during Lent.
Yeah, seafood. We were a seafood restaurant. So
when I was with Walk-Ons during Lent, I mean, 5 fryers,
Yep.
nonstop going, and just seafood being dropped all day. By the time you get done with that, you're caked in flour, in batter.
Yeah.
You're filthy. It's hot. It's dirty. It's loud. And during the summer, like you said, I mean, there's no escaping it, because you've got all this equipment that's set to 350, 400 degrees, and then the hood vents, they just suck. They suck the heat.
Yeah.
But they also suck your AC out too.
Yep.
So you're just nonstop, just drenched.
Yeah. It was, again, back then too, I remember I got my first pay raise. I was a dishwasher before I got promoted to fry cook. That was the big promotion, was from dishwasher to fry cook. And I went from $4.15 to $4.25 an hour as a dishwasher. And then I got bumped up to $6 an hour when I made the fry cook line.
That was big stuff.
It was a big deal.
$6 fry cook. Now you get to move up to the rest of the crew.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And I mean, you learn about like working with a team, and I mean, it's got to flow efficiently when you're back there.
Absolutely.
It was like I said, you really got a taste of what it was like to have to be on a tight schedule, and you're constantly, everything has to be to the minute, has to be coming out, and so
it's a teamwork aspect, it's a timing aspect, and it's something where everyone really kind of has to work in unison in order for it to be successful. A lot of people, if you've never worked in a restaurant, probably overlook that just because you don't know.
I have no idea.
But I mean, you can have an ace grill cook, but if the guy on fry is just constantly behind, it sets the entire restaurant behind.
Yep.
Just like a lot of people overlook the hostess position in a restaurant.
Yes.
A hostess who's not on top of her game can literally sink a restaurant. You see, say, 3 big tables all at the same time, well, you're gonna sink your kitchen.
Yeah.
Immediately, and a lot of people just kind of overlook that and think, oh, it's just the person who brings you to your table. But there's a lot more to it than that, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember. I remember Friday night. It'd be like 5 minutes till 10 o'clock, and you got all your stuff cleaned, and
late table walks in.
You're hoping no more tickets come in.
I had the worst that's ever happened to me by far was when I was with Chili's. It was a Sunday night. I was closing, and the GM didn't bother telling us that he had spoken to a church group that would be passing through.
Right before close?
Right before close. And so I want to say they called it like 8 o'clock or something, and it was like 50 people. And I said, okay, well, we should be there in time. And I said, if you're here before we close, we'll seat you. By the time I found out about it, we were down, I think, 2 cooks, bartender, a server, and a host. I mean, there was nobody in the restaurant. And sure enough, they pulled up with like 1 minute to spare. Two hotards pull up in the parking lot, and I just looked at the cooks and was like, just throw a bunch of stuff on. Like there's no way for us to do this in an efficient sort of way. Kitchen was already shut down, everything was clean. We probably would have been out of there in 20 minutes. We were there for another 2.5 hours.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah.
It's heartbreaking if you're in the restaurant business and you get that late table right before close.
Yeah.
It's devastating.
It's a little better when you're the waitress or the bartender and you're gonna get a nice big fat tip.
Yeah.
When you're in the kitchen cooking, like, you don't get anything extra.
Yeah, and you've got to clean everything up that you already just went and cleaned up.
Exactly.
Redo it all, and then you see the server 20 minutes later, she's like, okay, bye, y'all have a great night. And you're still back there having to do all the cleanup.
Yeah, I remember. Those bring back good memories, though.
It's fun. It's a lot of work.
I can honestly say, as messy and like 14 hours and then riding my bike home from washing dishes all wet, I made some of the best friends. I'm still friends with those guys 25, 30 years later.
Yep.
And had some of the best times and memories at doing that job with those guys in the kitchen.
The restaurant business I've traveled, Texas, Tennessee, Florida, all over the place. I've met all kinds of amazing people. My son's godfather was someone I work with at Walk-Ons.
Wow. Okay.
So I mean, a lot of people that I've still been friends with for 15, 20 years. Brad Watson, Stephen Hightower, which if you're in the restaurant business,
know
those names. They were who hired me at the Happy Note when I was 21. Now we're on the LRA board of directors together.
Oh, really? Okay.
20 years later. So, I mean, really amazing relationships, and it's funny how things can kind of, come full circle in this business.
Yeah.
So
your background, so you, like you said, bars, restaurants, like where did you get your start in the industry?
Bar was mainly a Happy Note Lounge.
Okay.
With Brad Watson in Hightower, and then first restaurant ever was TJ Ribs on Seaton.
Yeah.
So they were open in that, and I lived just a few miles down in the house that was primarily all the guys from the catering, which is
the catering,
and kind of just stuck with restaurants from there. But worked for Walk-Ons for a few years. Grimaldi's was a restaurant, corporate restaurant opened here in Baton Rouge. Bar Louie was another corporate restaurant opened here in Baton Rouge.
Yeah.
Twin Peaks.
Yeah.
So those are, the bigger companies, a lot of corporate background.
Yeah. So going from the corporate, now you're independently owned with Fresh Chef?
Just me.
What caused you to decide to make that transition, and also going the healthy route in Louisiana, where healthy eating, I think, is something that's so undervalued?
Really just mainly burnout.
Mm-hmm.
Twin Peaks was the franchise here, Baton Rouge and Lafayette locations. Mm-hmm. I was the franchise director, and just got so burnt out on dealing with all the typical restaurant challenges. But I had been doing it for so many years, not really a break or any sort of change in the type of companies I worked for. I just needed something different.
Yeah.
So left that position, hadn't been to Croatia in a decade.
Yeah.
Because it's because of the time difference, you can't really just go for a week.
Makes sense.
So me and my dad went for 5 weeks. First time I'd seen my family in a decade.
That's pretty awesome.
It was nice. It was a nice little recharge, reset. Came back, did some consulting work, and then ended up at Traction Sportsplex as the food and beverage director there. And meal prep was, once again, something I kind of just fell into. Ryan Clark, at the time, he wasn't as big with ESPN as he is now.
Right.
And he wanted an on-site meal prep service for his NFL guys, for when he trained them for the combine and everything. So the dietitian that we had just hired, we put together a program, and we were providing that service through there. And then I was doing meal prep for myself, and so people started asking me about doing it for them.
Yeah.
So then I was doing it out of my house for friends. COVID hit, and we were furloughed. Nothing going on, everything's closed. So I had all this free time that I could focus on my little business, and it kind of just blew up. So my dad and I signed a lease in secret, and I worked about 6 or 7 months between us opening it up and operating on a much smaller scale, along with still holding my position while we kind of got everything going. I mean, never in a million years would have thought I was going to do healthy food.
Right.
Like you said, in Louisiana, we're not known for that in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah. You got a little less competition in that space here.
A lot less competition than say the fried food or burger route.
Yeah.
There's a lot of that. But here, that type of food is the culture. I mean, Louisiana is known as a food culture state. I mean, most people, when they think about food meccas in the world, New Orleans is one of the places that's going to come up.
Of course, yeah. Food and drink, like partying and drinking.
Yeah, for sure.
And eating. And it's all fun, but like anything, moderation. And we're seeing now, I mean, the amazing, difference, eating healthy can do. And
COVID kind of accelerated that for a lot of people. They started paying a lot closer attention to side effects of different medications and what their diet was like and how much they were exercising, because it scared a lot of people, and rightfully so.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, it's definitely a huge change.
And then, I was blown away when I got into the bodybuilding and the fitness community 20 years ago, Columbus, Ohio. I never realized fitness, nutrition mecca, but it was because the Arnold Amateur and the Arnold Classic was there. And so, these other cities, like I started going to places where they really are focused on healthy eating. California, like very common to have places. When I go to Vegas, like there's a place called Protein House. And I go get my meals every time I get there, and I land and I stock my fridge with meals for the weekend, so that way I'm not eating terrible the whole time I'm out there, and I feel better.
The culture here is, obviously we fry everything.
Yeah.
We boil everything. Lots and lots of butter. Lots and lots of salt.
Yeah.
And that's what most people are raised on.
Right.
And so much of it is, we see it a lot with players, athletes that we work with, or people that are just, for whatever reason, they're getting into trying to eat healthier. It really is changing what they were brought up eating.
Yeah.
My mom never cooked healthy on purpose.
Not either.
It was red beans and rice, it was fried pork chops, it was fried catfish.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what our typical dinner was. And still, that's what they eat, that's what they cook, and that's kind of just a way of life here. So, but like you said, when you go to other places, there's definitely more of a focus on the healthier aspects of eating, the fresher items, lots more fresh produce and things like that. Where here we're like, okay, we're gonna smother it with butter. We're gonna use fresh cabbage or whatever. We're gonna we're gonna do it more for taste rather than health.
Well, and you brought up the athletes, with traction and with the NFL guys that y'all were cooking for and preparing meals. And in football, like, a lot of guys don't follow a super regimented diet, but now, you see Derrick Henry, freak athlete.
Yeah.
And amongst elite running backs, he's the elite right now.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And he attributes most of that to his diet regimen. He's obviously genetically a gifted, big, strong guy, but there's a couple hundred big, strong guys in the NFL.
Absolutely.
What the guys on the team talk about when they talk about Derrick, a lot of them talk about his diet exclusively being on a different level. Tom Brady.
I was about to say Tom Brady's another one who
that lasted into his 40s, and his trainer, it was his diet was as important as the work he put in on and off the field.
You can very easily go to the gym 6 days a week, work out 2 hours a day, but if you just eat crap, you're going to see limited returns on that investment in the gym. Whereas you can have someone who doesn't go to the gym at all, but they really lock in on their diet, and they can see exceptional returns because their diet is so dialed in. We saw that with one of the guys that we worked with, who's probably one of my favorite athletes we've gotten, is Andre Anthony.
Yeah.
He was on the national championship team for LSU. Towards the end of his senior season, which would have been the second season after that, tore his ACL. Obviously couldn't work out. But we started working with him up until his pro day, and he was incredibly dialed in on his diet.
Right.
I think the only time he didn't get meals was that 2-week break for like Christmas, New Year's. That was it. Maybe Mardi Gras. But other than that, I mean, he was locked in on meals.
Yeah.
Couldn't run. He got cleared to run 2 weeks before pro day, and I think he ran a 4.7. And he attributed that to his diet being dialed in, because obviously he was very limited in what he could do training wise.
Yeah.
You go look at RC. RC is someone who is very dialed on his diet. I mean, the guy, even though he's probably like 45 now.
Yeah, he looks great.
He looks like he could still go out there and play.
Yeah.
His diet, but he takes his diet very seriously.
Right.
And we see that our bodybuilder client,
I was gonna say, I saw a lot of comments from people I knew from the bodybuilding community sharing, and they get their meals from you.
We do a lot of work with bodybuilders, and if you think that eating healthy is too big of a change for you, if you would see what a lot of these bodybuilders eat, you would really be blown away. The average person, because when they get close to competition, there's no salt.
I know.
There's no oil. It's take this chicken, throw some nonstick spray on it, slap it in the oven, and I'll eat it. I personally can't do it.
Yeah.
Not to that extreme, but that's what they eat.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I remember 7 meals a day and everything weighed to the ounce, and that's where I really learned nutrition, was when I got into bodybuilding, and what was and wasn't good for you, and what to eat when. And it just opened my eyes to so much that we got away with in other sports. You could eat what you wanted as long as you were pretty fast and athletic and you hit the gym, you could get by with whatever. But yeah, with that, if you didn't eat right, it showed, and you can't hide it.
Yeah, and I remember when I was in high school, I wrestled, and everybody thought Subway was super healthy. But they used Jared. Here's a picture of Jared. He was 400 pounds, and look, he ate Subway, and he's 170 pounds.
Yeah.
And so I thought when I left practice,
turkey on wheat.
Yeah, I thought this was just this super, super healthy meal that I was eating.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, it was better than eating, say, Hot Pockets or a burger or McDonald's, but it wasn't actually
a healthy meal.
But you just, especially then, I didn't know.
We didn't know about it.
And that's one of the things I see all the time, are people that come in and they really don't know anything about the nutrition side of things.
Yeah.
We had a guy a couple of years ago, he would never pre-order, he'd always come in and grab meals out of retail cooler. And one day he came in and he's like, oh man, just like, how you doing or whatever. He's like, oh man, I had to go to the emergency room this weekend. Oh crap, you okay? He's like, yeah, I went and they did my blood work and my levels are all over the place. I was like, were you good? He's like, yeah, I'm good now. But they asked me what I said, well, what are you eating? Did you change your diet or anything like that? Well, I'm eating one of these meals a day. I said, okay, well, what else are you eating? No, I'm just eating this one meal a day. He's a big guy.
Yeah, he's starving.
I was like, well, your body thinks you're starving.
Yeah, it's holding everything.
Did you tell your doctor about this? He's like, no. Which kind of piggybacked on there's a book I read called How Not to Die. Can't remember the author's name, and I had no idea, and I was kind of blown away by it. The average doctor only gets 6 to 8 hours, I think it is, total in med school on nutrition.
Yes, it's terrible.
So when you go to your doctor, unless it's a doctor who really has taken an interest in that, they really don't know a whole lot to ask those questions. And I said, well, man, you're fine. Your body just thinks you're starving. You need to eat more. And that's also why you won't lose any weight, because you're holding everything. Your body's freaking out.
Yep.
But people just don't know.
Yeah.
And 2, it's just little changes, like ditch butter and substitute olive oil.
Right.
Or, you can make all these different sauces. Instead of mayo base, you use Greek yogurt. It gets the same flavor profile. It's just higher in protein, less fat.
Yep.
And it's got way better nutrition overall than other options. So people just typically don't know, but you don't get taught it in school really either.
When you started with Fresh Chef, where did you come up? Because I've been buying the meals for a few months now. Y'all are right down the street from my office, which I love.
Right.
And everything has been really good. I'm not just saying that because I don't endorse it. I'm not paid to endorse anything on the show. I go and I buy the meals because I did all my own meal prep, but every now and then it's just nice to take a break. And the meals
it's very time consuming.
Yes, your meals are really good. Where'd you come up with them?
So one thing I've seen from other businesses that do meal prep, so many of them come from the health and wellness sector already, and maybe they were a bodybuilder, they're a personal trainer. Obviously, I don't come from that side. I come from the restaurant side. So when I would try to do meal prep for myself, I hated it because I'm used to eating restaurant food, and now I'm trying to eat broccoli, brown rice, and chicken, and just
Hardly any seasoning, right?
yeah. And that was my thought, was because there was so little I knew about it whenever I started going down that road. You can still use seasonings. You can still use sauces.
Right.
You can use butter to a certain extent. So I set out to make meals for people that aren't really from the health and wellness sector, that are used to eating out or used to eating unhealthy, to where they see a meal, it looks restaurant quality, and it has those same flavor profiles. So it's kind of like a challenge of, okay, people want burgers. How can we do a healthy burger? Or people like, we do a cheeseburger casserole. That was on our menu this past week. It's probably our most popular casserole we do, and it's got almost no cheese in it. We use Greek yogurt
Okay.
instead of cheese, and it takes on that flavor profile. It gives it the same creaminess
Yeah.
that what you would with cheese, and that's kind of how I try to attack it. If you are someone who's never eaten healthy, you go to the doctor and say, hey, look, you really need to change your diet. You can look at our menu and go, okay, I'd eat that. Or I would try that.
Right.
Rather than just, here's a bunch of rice and chicken and vegetables and go eat it.
Yeah.
Which it's easy to get burnt out on that.
Well, and that's what I have someone this weekend, they're trying to get their son to gain weight. He's a football player. He wants me to put a plan together for him to actually gain some weight. He's undersized and his metabolism's through the roof. And
So he just burns through calories.
yeah, and he asked me what protein and what weight gainer, and I said, well, first, let's find one that he likes the taste of, because there's several good ones. But if I give you one and he doesn't like the taste,
Way less likely you're going to keep using
yeah,
it.
not gonna stick to it. Same thing like with the diet. Like I'm the same thing. Like I could culture shock you into a bodybuilding diet, and you'll probably flake out after week 1 or 2 because it's just too regimented, too radically difficult. Versus, like you said, and there's a way to make it enjoyable. Like you mentioned, like you can use olive oil, you can use a little bit of butter, you can use spices and seasonings. You don't have to have no sodium. Like there's a balance to those things.
I mean, we do pot roast, we do burgers, we do Mongolian beef, we do all these different things that you would find at a normal restaurant, but it's portion controlled.
Right.
Which in the average American restaurant, there is no portion control. It's massive portions. And it's little alterations. Maybe it's, low sodium soy sauce.
Yeah.
Rather than regular soy sauce. It's substituting Greek yogurt in recipes. It's 90-10 ground beef instead of what most people use, 80-20.
Right.
Things like that. It's little changes, but we see that too, where someone will decide they want to try bodybuilding, or they go to the doctor and the doctor scares the crap out of them. So now they want to make all these massive wholesale changes. And if it's someone who comes to talk to us, I usually try to advise them, ease into it. Unless it's something very, very serious.
Right.
Because there's a much better chance of you sticking with it. And then when it comes to trying to gain weight, people underestimate how much food you really have to consume. You're talking about, bodybuilding, 7 meals a day. I mean, you're eating every hour, 2 hours.
A lot.
And when you're talking about that sort of caloric intake with lean food compared to junk food or fast food, you can go get McDonald's and get a 1,500 calorie meal like that. But 1,500 calories of healthy food that's a whole different ballgame.
Yeah.
That's a lot of food to put down.
It is, and that's where people, like you said, it's finding that happy medium. And one thing too, I was really impressed. We met over the phone in the last month. I had a good friend of mine that was hospitalized. He, unfortunately, one of my dearest friends. We call each other brothers. We're family, but total opposites. Diabetic, bad health, not watching his diet, has had a couple of amputations on his toes, his feet. I mean, it's to that point where this last hospital stay was a near-death scare in ICU, and he's got a sodium restriction. and certain things that he can't have. And you got on the phone with me. We had never met before, and we spent, I'd say, 30 minutes at least on the phone. And we got him on a weekly delivery, and you kind of watch what of the meals that go in to where they do fall into the categories without having any of those high phosphorus or high alert foods that he can't have because of his condition.
And I think that comes primarily from my restaurant background, being in full service dining, where guest retention is so important because there's so many options. Those, I feel like, are the types of things that kind of set us apart, where we're a locally owned business.
Yeah,
we're a family business. My brother works here, my stepdaughter works here as well. My dad and I were the two people that started the business, and we worked together until he passed away. So I try to put that touch on it because I think that's what sets us apart. Because if you're someone who has a special diet or you have questions, you can call and speak directly to me, who's overseeing the preparation of all of your food.
Yeah.
It's not, you can go and you can get, honestly, you can get cheaper meals by ordering through one of these national companies. They're going to come in frozen. You don't know who's making your food.
Nope.
Here, you can come walk in and see who's making your food. You can talk directly to me. If you need something specific for a diet, that's something we can discuss. And we do get a lot of people that have health challenges. Or we get a lot of people who, they have elderly parents. Maybe, one of them's a widow. They live by themselves now. They don't really want them cooking for themselves. So we do a lot of food for, elderly folks. We do people that have dietary restriction because of their health.
Yeah.
People think meal prep is just usually used for someone who's trying to work out, do CrossFit, but it really runs the gamut of people's needs. It's, people that don't want to have to get out of the office every day and find lunch.
Yeah, busy entrepreneur, it is so convenient. If my wife couldn't work from home, like when I got back into bodybuilding, if she wasn't helping me with my meal prep, I'd have never been able to do it again.
It's incredibly time consuming.
Yeah.
And when you add up the time it takes to go to the grocery store, get out of there, drive home, unpack everything, do all the cooking, do all the packaging. If that's something you do every Sunday for yourself, that's hours.
Yeah, it's half the day.
Yeah, half the day easily. And if it's something where you and your significant other both doing it, so you're doing double the food, takes all that time, and more than likely you're doing maybe you're doing 2 proteins, 2 vegetables, 2 carbs. Very easy to get burnt out on that. Whereas something like us, our menu changes every week. It's on a 5-week rotation. And you're getting variety.
Yeah.
And you're getting your time back. Because that's the one thing you can't.
That's the big one for me.
Right. Yeah. You can manipulate it. You can. There's different things you can do to your schedule to try to get more time, but it's only 24 hours in the day. That's it.
Yeah.
No more, no less. You can't. There's nothing you can do about that.
The time is invaluable, and your prices. The first time I went in the store and I grabbed a bunch of meals and I grabbed a few bulk. The turkey meatballs are like my new addiction. I could eat those every day.
I go through a lot of those.
Yeah, those are amazing. And so I'm stocking up, and when the girl rang it up, I went, oh, okay. That didn't cost me any more than me going to the store and doing it myself. Like, I really told my wife the other day, I was like, Jen, I honestly don't really need to go to the store and do meal prep because the price differential was negligible. Y'all's prices, like you said, if there's something cheaper online, I mean, to have it cold and frozen and shipped, and you don't know what kind of quality or local ingredient or anything.
And you've got to worry about how it's getting here too.
Yeah, I mean, like, versus locally right there delivered to your door, made fresh. I mean, for a couple bucks, I can't see it.
And now and that's one of the things we wanted to, because we're very much in South Baton Rouge. You know, our retail location is on Airline, you know, by Little Village, and then, you know, our headquarters is in Industrialplex. So, and I get it. I'm a bubble person. You know, I live on this side of town. I really don't go past Bluebonnet a whole lot unless I have to.
Yeah.
So that's why we started doing the home delivery stuff. So now we cover all of Baton Rouge. We cover almost all of Ascension.
Yeah.
So every Saturday morning, you get your meals brought straight to your door.
Can't beat that.
And it works out well too if you have an elderly parent, which we had someone, she lived in Mississippi. Her mother still lived here, refused to leave, because this is where she was born, raised her kids, everything. Get that. She was able to go on there, place her mom's order, and she knew every Saturday her mom was going to get 5 meals, and she didn't have to worry about her mom cooking.
Right.
You know, so it gave her peace of mind. And it's about time with that as well, because you don't want, you know, when you cook at home, especially if you cook by yourself, more than likely you're cooking more than what you need. It's hard to cook a one-person
so true
meal, you know what I mean, unless you're going to eat leftovers for a couple of days. Some people don't like to do that, though.
Yeah. Well, and like you mentioned, you know, elderly, my friend, he physically right now, until he gets better, shouldn't be driving. So keeping him off the road, having his meals delivered to his house, you know, that's a safety concern. You know, and like same thing with some of the elderly clients that maybe they shouldn't be cooking or driving and things like that. So like again, it's a convenience and a safety concern for my friend. And after the time you took with me, I was like, I'm sold. You know, like this is a company I want to deal with. And that's why I even said, like, we need to do a podcast, because what you did was just above and beyond the normal scope of what most people and most businesses do, and that's what really stood out.
And I will give that credit to Brad Watson, Stephen Hightower, because when I started working there, I was just a bartender, but they made it a point to introduce me to every one of their friends, every single person that they knew that walked through the door, and that's how that business was built. Was if you went there, you were going to get taken care of incredibly well. Everyone's going to know. It was very much the Cheers effect, where everyone's going to know your name, and you're a regular. They know what you drink. They know how to take care of you. They know about your family. They know about your friends. And that really started with them, because like Stephen Hightower, he is, when it comes to shaking hands and kissing babies, he is great at it. And he puts that touch to make people make sure they feel welcomed, to go that little bit of extra mile to where people understand, like, okay, they're going to take really good care of me. And that's just something that's always stuck with me. To, you know, you get a lot of people that are trying this, they don't know how it works. We get that all the time. How does this work? You know, or they go on the website and they're like, I'm not sure how to do this. So they call and walk them through it step by step, or they email in and we kind of give them a breakdown of how everything works. There's some hand holding, but to a lot of people, this is a brand new,
newer concept. So tell people, I mean, how does it work? Like, you know, they want to order, they want to get meals, easiest way, kind of, you know.
So they can go online and order, pre-ordering. If you're a picky eater, I always recommend pre-ordering, because you can get exactly what you want. Or you can order it with extra protein, order it low carb, order extra large size. We also do family size meals. But if you don't want to do pre-orders, you want to try it out, you can go to a real retail store on Airline or retail cooler. We try to stock keep it as well stocked as we can, but we don't freeze anything. So Saturdays we do MAT as our biggest stock day. And then we restock again on Tuesday afternoon based on what our Saturday, Sunday, Monday was like. But it's all made fresh. If you order for Wednesday pickup or Saturday pickup, it's all made specifically for your order on those days. And then we do the home delivery option as well, which is every Saturday. And besides meals, we actually do bulk items. So you can buy, like you were talking about, turkey meatballs by the pound, shrimp, green beans, jasmine rice, all the different vegetables. You got to make your own meals.
Yeah.
But that's another option that is available, and we have a lot of families that started using that because their kids are pickier eaters.
Yeah.
But then, okay, well, they eat green beans and buffalo chicken. So on practice days, maybe it's, Little League, well, we'll order 2 pounds of buffalo chicken and 2 pounds of green beans. That's going to cover dinner for 2 nights. So we don't have to stop at fast food or get home at 8 o'clock at night and cook. So we have a lot of families that utilize it. We have a lot of elderly people. I mean, it really just, so many that's why it's hard to figure out marketing, because we have people from age 16 to age 80 in all different walks of life.
Well, and like schools, teams, need to be looking at this more. I'm again, like we talked, I'm blown away at how little goes into healthy eating at schools, or high school teams, middle school teams. Like, if I'm coaching a football or whatever team, I want my kids on a vitamin and a workout and a nutrition plan. Again, maybe they follow 50, 60, 75%, depending on the kid.
Yeah.
But it's still better than no nutrition. They're eating fast food and junk, and their performance on the court or on the field is going to be diminished because they've never eaten really good. And you don't realize what a difference it makes
until you do it.
Until you've done it, and then you go back and eat some just junk, and you realize how run down and your energy and your overall mood, like the performance difference when you go back to eating something that was, junk, fast food, after you've been eating really clean. It's mind-boggling after that. Like, you're like, oh, how did I ever eat this crap?
Yeah, last year, I won't say the school, but we had a school that we did some pregame meals for. Their very first game of the season, I don't remember who it was that chose the meal, but they did, I think it was fried chicken and macaroni and cheese. And half the team threw up. During the game, yep. Because they fed them a ton of cheesy carbs and a ton of fried, greasy food. And they're like, I don't understand what happened. It's like, come on, man. Like, it's still hot as can be. You're running around. You're in full pads. Like, what did you think? How did you think this was going to be a good idea? As something like 20 kids just on the sideline, just pulling up their helmet, just and we have seen more high schools reach out, more athletic teams start looking at those options, and it's usually something we'll work with them on price, and because they are limited in their budget if it's a public school.
Sure.
But we also feel like it's a great opportunity to show kids at a young age, how to eat right. Because I had no idea.
Me either.
I really didn't do a lot of vegetables for myself until I moved to Baton Rouge for college and realized, okay, well, that can of corn that's 99 cents, I can turn that into 2 meals. It wasn't that I necessarily wanted corn. It was like, okay, well, this is the cheapest option that I can make them, eat on, rather than fast food and that sort of thing. Yeah,
I was in my mid-20s when my first year of bodybuilding. I was 26. So at 25 was when I first started eating vegetables.
And I see that a lot with athletes where they don't eat vegetables. One of the LSU athlete we just worked with for his pro day, when I spoke to his agent and spoke to his trainer, both first words out of their mouth were, he really doesn't like vegetables. I'm like, so what vegetables does he like? And I think it was like 2 vegetables total. Yeah. And he's like, oh, but if the vegetables are cooked in, like onions or something, cooked into the food, like with gumbo or something, he's okay with that. I'm like, okay, well, this will be a challenge, and we see that a lot. Yeah. They'll eat fruit.
Fruit's easy.
Fruit, carbs, great. Proteins, great. But when it comes to the vegetables, that's where the challenge is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was a big shock for me, and it took me a while to acquire a taste, and now, anything, I love it now. Things I used to think, asparagus and Brussels sprouts, and those things used to sound like disgusting to me. Now, grilled asparagus,
oh, for sure.
A little salt,
I grilled asparagus last night.
Pepper, phenomenal.
Yeah,
And
very rarely do I eat a meal now that I don't have vegetables.
Yeah, me either.
And I now, a lot of times, like on my busy days, like where we're cooking, I eat fruit. You know, I just have like cut watermelon or cantaloupe and bananas, and that'll be my lunch. I won't do any protein or anything because I'm hot. I'm moving around a lot. I don't want to feel weighed down. And it feels so much better.
Oh yeah, I started a lot of dark berries in the morning with my breakfast for my carbohydrates, like blueberries, and dark berries, and oh my God, I feel great when I eat that in the morning.
Yeah, I've eaten more fruit probably in the last year and a half than I ever have. And it feels so much better than just constant protein intake. And that was one of the differences, you know, between me growing up, seeing cultures. You know, my mom and dad were divorced, so I grew up two different houses, but also two different diets too. You know, my mom, it was fried pork chops and stuff like that all the time, but then my dad, everything was vegetables, lots of olive, but that's how he was raised.
Mediterranean cooking, yeah.
Mediterranean cooking, and you know, when we started the business, he sold his house in Mississippi and moved over here, and even then, I mean, until he got sick, you would have never thought he was 65 years old.
Right.
And everything was vegetables. You know, he could just sit down and take a bunch of bell peppers and squash, zucchini, cut that up, throw it in the oven, and he was perfectly happy with that meal.
Yeah.
Whereas here, a lot that your average person here would look at that and go, well,
what's going with it?
Yeah, exactly? That's a side. That's not a main dish. But that's the difference. Like you were talking about earlier, over there, and really a lot of places, you know, it's not so meat heavy, or definitely not red meat heavy either.
Yeah. Well, you see other countries, I mean, you have single digit obesity, and the mortality rates and again, we have more money, we have more medicine, we have more, but you go to other countries and it's because they're eating healthy, whole foods, natural things that are grown. And so, yeah, I think, like you said, Fresh Chef Kitchen is one of those things, like, I think more people need to be exposed to, because that's where we should be eating more often than, you know, fast food and the stuff that's killing us out there.
And people are much more aware now. You get a lot more people that are shying away, and it's changing the restaurant business.
Yeah, you see the gluten-free or the healthy portion of the menu now, which a lot of restaurants even have the you know,
they'll have the
calories and fats and carbs and everything like listed out on some of the menu items now, because people are actually looking at that.
People are looking at it. They want to know how their food's made. They want to know where it's coming from. They're much more aware of preservatives, chemicals in their food, because there's a lot of stuff that's legal here that overseas in most countries,
I know, isn't that crazy?
Will not allow it.
That is unbelievable, and it's good to see that we're starting to touch on banning some of these dyes and these seed oil and just things that are known toxins that have been rampant in, you know, American foods, and it's good to see that they're starting to put a stop to some of that stuff.
And it's hard because, you know, more than likely what you grew up eating, that's going to be your personal food culture as an adult as well. And it's hard to change that.
Yeah.
It's really hard. And, you know, if you just drive around here, there's so many fast food options. And it's convenience. People want convenience, and that's kind of how we try to get people to understand this is for convenience as well.
Yeah, very convenient.
Yes, you can get out of your office, go run through Jack in the Box or one of those and be back in 20 minutes. Or you can go to your mini fridge in your office, throw it in a microwave, and you've got your lunch in 2 minutes. You saved on gas. You didn't spend $15, $16 for a burger meal.
Yeah.
That's just totally processed fast food, and you don't have to do all the driving.
Your meals are cheaper than going and getting a box combo at one of the fried chicken places here in town.
Yeah.
Yeah, like average meal price is around $10.
Between $9 and $10.
Yeah. Which is, to me, a steal compared to, you go get a chicken nugget meal or a chicken tender meal, and it's $17, and it's terrible for you.
Yeah, and that's one of our biggest challenges right now. It's rising cost of goods. We had seen some relief a few months ago, but now we're seeing those prices rise. But that's a rise on everybody. We could go higher on our prices, and we would have a much better profit margin. But I feel very comfortable with where we're at for what the client is getting. That it's much more of an approachable price.
Yeah.
And I think that is where we want to be. We've seen some of our competitors, that are cheaper or that are higher. And I feel like we fit in right where we need to, because for one, we do everything fresh.
Yeah, that's big.
It's not a frozen product. You get it fresh, and our portions are bigger. Our average meal total between protein, carbs, veggies is going to be around 12 ounces of food. So if you're a guy, that's a very filling portion. That's
what I like too, because I would always have to buy the extra protein, and then by the time I got it, it was $20 a meal from most places, because the protein, the portions were so small.
Yeah.
Like, well, yeah, you're losing weight because it's like less than I would feed like a 120-pound female bikini competitor. Like, the portions were so small. As a guy, it wasn't enough.
Yeah.
And with your meals, I'm actually satiated and I feel good by the time I finish that meal. I'm not still hungry. And that was a problem I found with some of these other online and some of the different meal prep places, was the portions were just tiny. And I'd have to eat 2 of the meals, and then I'm back to $25 a meal.
Right, yeah, you're paying $20 because you need those, the larger portion of the food. And we hear that a lot. And that's kind of where we've stayed, why we've stayed where we've at. It's in terms of portion size pricing.
Yeah.
Is because the feedback now after several years is, especially from guys, the portion size is great. And for our female clients, we have had, okay, well, it's kind of big. Okay, well, that's going to save you money.
Yeah, you got a little leftover.
Right. Here, you've got lunch, but now you can use the rest of this as a snack.
Yeah.
So you're killing 2 birds with 1 stone for the same price.
Right.
So then it's a lot of times it's kind of like a eureka moment of, okay, yeah, that's a good idea. I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
So now you're saving a little bit of money because you can use that one meal and kind of really stretch it out.
Right.
Because our meals were designed for male athletes.
Right.
And we didn't deviate that, because I do like when people, like you were just talking about, when they open a meal and they feel like they're getting their money's worth.
Yep.
They look at it and go, okay, wow, this is a good amount of food. Like, this is going to fill me up. I'm not going to be scrambling around looking for something to add on so that I can actually feel like I had a meal.
Yeah.
Because that's not what I want. I don't want, now, if you're purposely eating smaller meals, that's on you. But I feel like our portions really hit home for the average person, unless you're a bodybuilder or a pro athlete.
Well, you have the smaller portions too, or the no carb options.
Yeah, you can do low carb. Yeah, you can do low carb, and we do. We see a lot of our female clientele. That's who primarily get the low carb meals, and it's still a bunch of food. It's just doesn't have the rice. It doesn't have the potatoes.
Right.
Low carb is definitely something that's big, but we also, we don't do keto. We don't do the fad diet stuff.
Yeah.
Which we do have a lot of people that call and ask us about that stuff. But the dietitians, the trainers, the doctors that are clients of ours and that we work with, they don't support those fad diets. So if the people that are more knowledgeable than I am...
Well, because they're short-lived results.
Yes.
And that's why... my wife, she's probably watching, I joked with her for years. I used to call her Keto Queen, and she was stagnant in her results. And I was like, you're not getting the results you want because you're not eating any carbs. And it took years for me to get that through. And then she's in the best shape of her life, and she's like, she eats more carbs, more fats, and probably more food now. But it was a long process of, she just wasn't eating enough. And she was no carb, because that was she would stay lean, and the scale would say one thing, but then she didn't get the results she wanted. And I was like, that's a good way to lose weight quickly, but it's not a long-term solution that you can just live like that without any carbohydrates or any fats or anything.
Well, when you get off of it,
The rebound.
the rebound comes back, and you're going to gain all. That's why most doctors and nutritionists, dietitians all tell you change your lifestyle and figure out a diet that works for you long term. And they don't even really call it a diet; they more so call it a lifestyle change rather than a diet change. Because if you can find something that works for you, that works long term, the results are going to stay around longer. That doesn't mean you can't eat.
Yeah, we have a cheat meal here and there. We do eat pizza once in a while. We do, go out for dinner or drinks on a date night.
I'm a big believer in enjoying food.
Yep.
Food is amazing. There's some amazing restaurants that you can go to where you're going to be blown away by the food and their service, and I think people should enjoy that. But your day to day,
right?
This eating, non-processed, clean food, it really is so much better. I mean, and that's a huge focus. I've got a 2.5-year-old at home. I'm lucky; he loves food. That's the thing he asks for the most.
Yeah.
Cantaloupe. So he constantly runs in the kitchen, canta, and bananas and watermelon.
Yeah.
Now, as far as vegetables go, we're in a...
Veggies are tricky with kids.
Yeah, right now we're in kind of a veggie
My son is
desert.
still on Juice Plus gummies. Like we go through a lot of those to get his veggie nutrients in.
Yeah, he loved veggies for a long time, and now we're kind of in a veggie desert where it doesn't matter what it is. He's like, no.
Veggies are tricky. They take a little getting, just getting it in if they just have that phase. But again, at least they get their nutrients somewhere else. If you can't get that, if they're eating the right and not any of the junk.
But when it comes to fruit, absolutely destroy. And I think that's what you have to find what works for you.
Yeah. It's
not a one size fits all thing, and we've seen trainers that do that. There's trainers that we've worked with in the past where, you're a guy, here, this is the meal plan for you, and every guy is
on the
same meal plan. It doesn't take into account
blood type or height, weight, all kind of
age, activity level, all these different things. And so it is finding what works for you.
Yeah.
What proteins, what vegetables, is it low carb? Do you need the extra protein? There's so many different ways to go about it. It's not a one size fits all because everybody's activity level is different too. I mean, for me, I'm on my feet 5 days a week, go.
Right.
Well, that's very different for someone who works in a cubicle.
Yeah.
And is at a desk for 8 hours a day, and they get very limited daily activity, except for when they go to the gym.
Right.
I mean, I go through, my average work day is between 600 and 800 calories that I burn just from walking my daily 4 or 5 miles here at work. Someone who works in that cubicle is not going to go anywhere near that.
Right.
So it's a totally different thing. You've got to really it's great to go and talk to someone who knows more than you. Find a nutritionist, a dietitian, personal trainer who comes with, a lot of good feedback from other clients. And that's something else that we do. We try.
I was going to say, you guys have a sphere of people you can refer clients to, and people who want to order or want to get with the right nutritionist.
I don't get to interact with the clients as much as I'd like to now with, my office being here in the commissary kitchen. But I still try to direct people. We'll get people that'll email us or contact us. And we've got trainers that we work with, in Ascension and in Baton Rouge.
Yeah.
Some in Central too, where we can kind of feel out what you're looking for and then say, okay, well, you know what? Try
so-and-so is a good fit.
So-and-so, or try this one. And because it's all coincides.
Yeah.
If you find a great fit as a trainer, you're way more likely that you're going to stay focused on eating healthy and vice versa.
Of course.
So it goes hand in hand, and those trainers, they're an extension of us because they want to push people to get the best results they can, and eating better is going to help them get the
100%.
results in the gym as well.
I used to joke whenever I was working out, if I had been a personal trainer, I would see guys at the gym and they were there 4 or 5 days a week working out with the trainer. Never got any result. And it's because there was no meal plan, there was no nutrition to go along with the workouts. They're in there working out I'd see them in the gym and not just getting pushed through some
really
tough workouts and no results. And it blew my mind. I was like, I don't know how these guys aren't giving them nutrition and other things to follow, because like the 80-20 rule, like 80% of your results are here in the kitchen, not in the gym. And,
absolutely.
And so I would see that and I was like, man, these guys are not capitalizing on the most important part of having a trainer, which is the nutrition side of it too. And it was just kind of shocking to me that you would see a lot of that and people never really worked, not a lot, but I'd see a lot of people in the gym that they would just be in the gym working out, but the nutrition was completely neglected. And they're paying a good bit of money. If you're working with a trainer in the gym,
it's not cheap.
3, 4, 5 times a week, you're spending some bucks.
Oh yeah, between the gym membership itself and the personal training costs, it's not cheap. And that's why we're selective with trainers that we work with.
Yeah.
You know, it has to be someone who we've kind of vetted a little bit.
Right.
We know a little bit before we go and promote you or are willing to do any sort of collaboration.
Well, your name is on the line when you recommend someone.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's been some trainers that for one reason or another, you know, where we've shied away from. And it's nothing personal, but like you said, my name is attached to this. So if you go and have a horrible experience, more than likely you're going to kind of associate, well, he's the one that told me to call so-and-so. So we are really selective, and I think other businesses should be the same. You know, you want to know who you have
to be real careful who you recommend.
Absolutely.
I've found that over the years. Like, I give very, very few recommendations anymore. You know, if it's not something I've used, believe in, because at the end of the day, my name is on the line if I recommended someone, and so
it reflects upon you.
Absolutely. And so I know we're getting probably close to the top of the hour. People want to find you on the web to place orders. You mentioned kind of the proximity. So tell people where they should look to find you and the easiest way to go about ordering.
So freshchefeats.com is the website. Fresh Chef Kitchen is our name. You can find us on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. My office is here in Industrialplex on Merchant Drive. You can Google us. We're obviously on there, and our retail location is on Airline in the same strip mall as Forest College and Ice House Bar and Grill. Right smack dab in the middle. You can walk in, grab meals, test them out. So we're very accessible in that, and with the delivery, you know, if it's something where you live across town or you live down in Gonzales, you don't want to make that drive, you've got the option where we bring it straight to your door on every Saturday morning.
Can't beat that. And you said Baton Rouge and Ascension Parish is the delivery areas right now?
Yep. Hopefully we'll get into the Livingston area eventually. It's something we just started a few months ago. And we're really looking at that as a way to make people's lives a lot easier. Because I get it. I don't go to that side of town a whole lot if I don't have to.
I don't blame you. It's driving around Baton Rouge and daytime traffic is not
fun. No, so I get
Convenience is huge. And you know, I noticed a couple little things, like when I came in here, you're coming from the kitchen, the restaurant background, it's spotless back there. You know, like the kitchen, like you keep it spick and span back there, you know, like, and everything is very neat and orderly. Like, you guys really run a tight ship here, I could tell.
We try to do our best because if it's not, that's how mistakes happen. And I think that's, you know, a lot of people do this out of their homes. And we have had people that have asked us about, you know, well, why should I use you when I can get it cheaper from someone who does it out of the house? Biggest thing is they're not regulated. You know, are they certified in food safety? How are they storing the food? All these different things where food safety comes into fact. You get undercooked chicken, you talk about, you know, salmonella, that's really serious. I mean, there's a lot of different things the average person doesn't know when it comes to food safety and sanitation. I mean, you can end up in a hospital.
Right.
You know, there's food poisoning. There's all these different specific sicknesses that go along with different undercooked meats or vegetables. So, yeah, I mean, we're very serious about safety and sanitation, things getting cleaned properly, stored properly. You know, and it starts with organization.
Yeah.
If you're not organized, then things fall by the wayside, and
Yeah.
that's usually where mistakes happen.
Yeah. No, it shows, like I said, with the meals at the store and everything runs really like a well-oiled machine. And like I said, you've been above and beyond helpful for a friend of mine that had the health scare recently. And
We try our best.
yeah, the home delivery for him is huge. So that's why, I just want people to know, because I didn't even know until recently that y'all were doing the home delivery. You know, and it worked out perfect timing after he
Yeah.
got out of the hospital.
Yeah, we've done limited advertising. We're very much a word of mouth
Yeah.
and referral type business. I mean, we didn't even have a sign on the exterior of our airline store for the first 3 years. You know, we had our door sign, and we had a curbside sign for curbside pickup.
Yeah.
And we were very much a business built on how we treated our clients. And they really kind of just did the advertising for us because
Yeah.
they believed in the product, they enjoyed how we treated them, and they were our biggest cheerleaders.
Yeah. Yeah.
So-
Well, hopefully this will definitely get the word out, and some people will watch today's interview and share, like,
Yeah.
and comment. And if anybody's looking for healthy food, Fresh Chef Kitchen, I think by far the best in town, and it's where I get all my stuff now. So I appreciate you coming on the show with me
I
today.
appreciate you having me.
It was great.
It was a
meeting
good time.
you. Yep. And thank you guys for tuning in every week. Check us out next week.